This is the story of a famous couple. It is a story about love, choice, and two lives that met at the right time. Many people watched them, talked about them, and remembered them. Their story became part of modern history. He came from one of the most famous families in America. His name was John Kennedy, and people knew him from childhood. He was the son of a president and a symbol of hope for many Americans. His face was on magazine covers, and his name was part of the country's story. He lived in the light of public life, where every step mattered. She came from a quiet and private world. Her name was Carolyn Bessette, and she worked in fashion in New York. She loved simple clothes, clean lines, and calm colors. She did not look for attention, but people noticed her natural style and grace. Her beauty was soft, real, and timeless. They were from two very different worlds. One world was full of history, names, and cameras. The other world was calm, modern, and private. These two worlds met, and when they did, they created a story people still talk about today. They met through work and shared circles in New York. At that time, John Kennedy was one of the most famous men in the country. People recognized him on the street, and his name opened many doors. Still, he lived an active working life and met people outside politics and media. Carolyn Bessette worked as a PR manager in the fashion industry. She was professional, focused, and respected at her job. Fashion was her world, but she stayed private and serious about her work. She was not part of celebrity culture and did not move in public circles. Their meeting was calm and private. It did not turn into a public event or media story. The moment stayed between them and a small circle of people around them. No details appeared in magazines or headlines. The relationship began quietly, outside the public eye, and followed its own path without explanation to the world. The relationship started in the middle of the 1990s. At that time, John Kennedy was one of the most visible men in the country, but this part of his life stayed out of public focus. The couple did not share information and did not explain their connection. News about them appeared slowly and without details. For a long time, the media did not know who the woman beside him was. Carolyn Bessette stayed outside public attention and continued her work in fashion. Her name became known only later, when the relationship was already real and stable. During these years, life moved on in a simple city way. Days passed in New York with work, streets, and everyday routines. The relationship grew inside normal urban life, not on red carpets or public stages. This quiet period became an important part of their shared story. They lived together in New York, in the Tribeca area. It was a place where many people could see them in daily life. They walked through the streets, went to local shops, and took their dog outside. Neighbors and photographers often noticed these moments. Their life looked very normal for a city couple. Shopping, walking, and simple routines filled their days. These scenes became well known because they happened in public streets, not at events or parties. Carolyn did not speak to the media. She did not give interviews and did not attend social events. She avoided cameras as much as possible and did not try to become a public figure. Her life stayed private, even with growing attention. John tried to protect her privacy. He understood the pressure of public life and tried to limit media access. He chose simple routines and familiar places. This way of living helped them stay together and keep part of their life away from public control. The wedding happened in 1996. John and Carolyn decided to marry in secret. The plan was known only to a few people. Nothing appeared in the news before the day. The ceremony took place in a small church, far from public life. Only close family and a small group of friends were there. There were no photographers and no public guests. Everything was simple, quiet, and very controlled. There was no large celebration and no public message. The couple did not share details and did not invite attention. The focus stayed on the marriage itself, not on a public event. The press learned about the wedding only after it was over. For many people, the news came as a surprise. The marriage became another example of how the couple chose privacy, even during one of the most important moments of their lives. After the wedding, public attention around Carolyn grew quickly. People began to talk about her clothes, her hair, and her simple look. Photos of her appeared in magazines and newspapers. Her style became a topic of discussion. She did not plan this attention. Fashion editors started to call her a style icon, even though she never asked for this role. Her look stayed clean and minimal. Simple lines, calm colors, and no excess became her signature. Carolyn stayed reserved and controlled. She did not change her way of dressing for cameras. There were no public performances and no loud fashion statements. Everything stayed quiet and consistent. She also did not use her marriage to build a public career. She did not promote herself through the Kennedy name. Her life remained private, and her image stayed separate from public ambition. In public, John spoke about Carolyn with respect. He called her his wife and did this openly. His words were calm and clear, without show. He often said that she was a real person, not an image for the media. He asked people to see her as a private individual, not as a public role. This message appeared in his actions and short public comments. He also tried to reduce media pressure around their life. He avoided public scenes and limited access when possible. His goal was to keep daily life normal and protect her from constant attention. In the last years, John and Carolyn stayed together. Both continued to work and move forward with daily life. Travel was part of their routine, sometimes for work and sometimes for personal plans. Private life stayed important. They spent time away from cameras when possible and kept many moments for themselves. Even with public attention, their life together remained quiet and personal. In 1999, the story came to an end. John Kennedy and Carolyn Bessette were on a small private plane together. They were going on a short trip. The plane did not arrive. The accident happened over the ocean. News spread very quickly, and many people around the world stopped to listen and watch. They left this world together. Their life ended the same way it was lived, as one story. Today, many people remember them not only for who they were, but for the life they shared until the last moment. After their death, the story did not disappear. John and Carolyn stayed in public memory. People continued to talk about their life and their relationship. Many remembered them as a couple who tried to live quietly in a very public world. Photos, articles, and memories returned again and again. Their names stayed linked, and their story stayed whole. Today, John Kennedy and Carolyn Bessette are remembered not only as famous names, but as two people who chose each other. One life. One story. together to the end.